Cats are among the most familiar companions in human homes today. But their story begins tens of millions of years before humans even appeared on Earth. To understand how a wild, solitary predator became one of the world's most common household animals, we must travel back through deep time and trace their journey step by step. Their story is not simply one of domestication, but of resilience, survival, and partnership on their own terms. About 56 million years ago, small tree-dwelling mammals known as myocids roamed the forests of what is now Europe and North America. These creatures were not cats, nor dogs, but they carried the genetic blueprint from which all modern carnivores evolved. Myocids were no larger than domestic cats, with long tails, flexible spines, and sharp teeth. They darted through branches, hunting insects, reptiles, and small mammals. They mark the beginning of the carnivore lineage, and over millions of years, one branch of their descendants began to specialize in the traits we associate with felines: stealth, ambush, and precision. By around 25 million years ago, the first true cat appeared. Proilurus, whose name means before the cat, lived in Eurasia. It was small, roughly the size of a modern bobcat, with retractable claws, slicing carnassial teeth, and a long tail for balance. Fossil skeletons show it could climb trees, leap onto prey, and stalk silently. Proilurus is recognized as the ancestor of all later cats. The point at which feline evolution took a distinct and recognizable form. A few million years later, Proilurus gave rise to Pseudolurus, a diverse group of cats that spread across Europe, Asia, and North America. Some species were small and arboreal, while others were larger, roaming hunters of open landscapes. From Pseudolurus came two major evolutionary lines. One led to the saber-toothed cats, such as Smilodon in the Americas and Homotherium in Eurasia. With their long, dagger-like upper canines, they were apex predators of the Ice Age, ambushing giant prey. Their fossils are found in tar pits and caves, often with broken fangs that reveal the cost of their dangerous hunting style. The other line produced the smaller, more adaptable cats that would survive long after the saber-tooths disappeared. These cats refined stealth and agility rather than sheer power. By about 2 million years ago, the genus Felis had emerged, producing cats remarkably similar to the ones we know today. These were small, solitary hunters, perfectly adapted to stalking and ambushing rodents, birds, and reptiles. Among them, one species proved crucial: the African wildcat, Felis, with its sandy-colored coat blending seamlessly into desert grasses. It lived in open savannas and semi-arid regions of Africa and the Near East. African wildcats are so similar in appearance to domestic cats that most people cannot tell them apart. Their DNA confirms the connection. Genetic studies show that modern house cats descend directly from Near Eastern populations of Felis lybica. These wildcats became the ancestors of every domestic cat alive today. The turning point came about 10,000 years ago, when humans in the Fertile Crescent began to farm. Agriculture brought villagers, stored grain, and, inevitably, rodents. Mice and rats flourished in human settlements, threatening precious food supplies. African wildcats, drawn by this abundance of prey, began lingering near villages. Humans tolerated their presence because they reduced rodent numbers. Over time, cats that were less fearful of people thrived near human dwellings, while humans who accepted cats enjoyed greater food security. This relationship was not forced but mutually beneficial. Unlike dogs, which were actively bred and trained, cats domesticated themselves, choosing to live near humans because it suited their hunting strategy. Archaeological finds confirm this early partnership. on the island of Cyprus. A burial from 9,500 years ago contains the remains of a man interred alongside a cat. Because cats are not native to Cyprus, the animal must have been transported there by humans. The careful placement of the cat in the grave suggests more than convenience. It was valued, perhaps loved, and included in death as it was in life. This burial is the earliest evidence of a deliberate human-cat bond, a moment when cats crossed the threshold from tolerated hunter to companion. Nowhere was this bond more fully realized than in ancient Egypt. By around 4,000 years ago, cats were central to Egyptian households and culture. They protected grain stores from vermin, but their role extended far beyond utility. Egyptians saw in cats qualities of grace, fertility, and protection. The goddess Bastet embodied these traits, worshipped as a lion-headed warrior or as a gentle cat-headed mother. Her temples housed sacred cats, and families offered mummified cats as tributes. Vast cat cemeteries have been discovered, such as those at Saqqara, where thousands of mummified cats were interred in underground galleries. One cache contained over 300,000 cat mummies. Such devotion demonstrates the deep reverence Egyptians felt for these animals. Killing a cat, even accidentally, was a serious crime in Egypt. Greek historians reported families mourning their cats by shaving their eyebrows. Cats were depicted in art, often shown beneath chairs, wearing collars or jewelry, and interacting with children. They became symbols of domestic life, guardians of the home, and protectors of the afterlife. Laws forbade their export, yet traders and sailors smuggled them abroad. From Egypt, cats spread across the Mediterranean, reaching Greece, Rome, and beyond. On ships, their role was indispensable. They hunted rats that threatened food stores, making them as essential as ropes or sails. In Rome, cats were admired for their independence and skill. They appeared in mosaics, poetry, and daily life, guarding villas and farms from vermin. Unlike dogs, which were bred for loyalty and service, cats retained their solitary character. Romans respected them for this, seeing in their independence a reflection of Roman ideals of self-sufficiency. As the empire expanded, cats traveled with legions and merchants into northern Europe. In Norse mythology, the goddess Freya's chariot was said to be pulled by great cats, a testament to their symbolic power. Cats also spread eastward along trade routes, reaching India, China, and Japan. In each culture, they adapted seamlessly, welcomed for their practical value, and gradually woven into local myths and beliefs. The Middle Ages brought more complicated times for cats in Europe. They were sometimes cherished as hunters, but often feared as symbols of witchcraft and evil. Black cats, in particular, were associated with sorcery. Superstitions led to mass killings, especially during outbreaks of plague, when fear sought scapegoats. Ironically, by reducing cat populations, these purges allowed rodent numbers to surge, worsening the very plagues people feared. Yet cats endured. Monks kept them in monasteries to protect manuscripts from mice. Farmers valued them in barns. Illuminated manuscripts from the period even depict cats, often humorously, showing that despite official suspicion, people still lived closely with them. By the Renaissance, attitudes began to shift. Cats reappeared in art and literature, celebrated for their elegance and mystery. In Italy, Leonardo da Vinci sketched them in playful poses. In France and England, they appeared in paintings alongside nobles and royalty. Trade and exploration carried them further afield. Cats crossed the Atlantic on ships to the Americas, where they once again proved vital in controlling vermin in new colonies. They reached Australia in the 18th century, carried aboard European vessels. Within decades, they were present across the globe, thriving in environments as varied as deserts, jungles, cities, and islands. In the 19th century, humans began selectively breeding cats for specific appearances and temperaments. Cat shows became popular in Victorian England, where breeds like the Persian and Siamese were introduced. This marked a turning point. Cats shifted from semi-wild household hunters to curated companions, celebrated for beauty as much as utility. Today, more than 70 recognized breeds exist, from the long-haired Maine Coon to the hairless Sphinx, yet genetically, all remain close to the African wildcat. Studies show that despite thousands of years of living alongside humans, domestic cats differ from their wild ancestors in only a handful of genes, mostly related to behavior and coat patterns. Modern science has deepened our understanding of this bond. Genetic studies reveal that domestication altered cats' brains slightly, reducing aggression and increasing tolerance of human contact. Archaeologists have traced the spread of domestic cats through ancient DNA, mapping their journey from the Fertile Crescent into Egypt, Europe, and beyond. Historical records describe their roles in societies from Viking longhouses to Chinese ports. Folklore abounds with stories of cats as lucky charms, omens, or magical companions. Sailors believed ship cats brought good fortune, and some even received wages or burial honors when they died at sea. In the modern world, cats are everywhere. They are one of the most widespread animals on Earth, with populations in the hundreds of millions. Some live pampered lives as indoor pets, others roam feral in cities and countrysides, and many straddle the line between the two. They are beloved companions, internet icons, and cultural symbols. Yet they are also controversial, as feral cats prey heavily on wildlife, especially on islands where native species are defenseless. This duality reflects their entire history. Cats are both wild and domestic, both independent and intertwined with us. Their domestication was unlike that of dogs, horses, or cattle. It was not imposed by human will, but emerged from mutual benefit. Cats remained themselves, retaining their solitary nature, hunting instincts, and independence. They accepted human company because it suited them, not because they were reshaped by force. When you watch a cat crouch before pouncing, or bat at a toy with lightning reflexes, you are watching behaviors perfected long before humans planted their first crops. When a cat curls in your lap and purrs, it is a gesture that has bridged 10 millennia of shared life. The story of cats is one of continuity as much as change. From the Miacids of ancient forests to Proilurus leaping through the Miocene. From the African wildcat stalking rodents in the Fertile Crescent to the sacred cats of Egypt. From the ships that carried them across oceans to the homes of millions today. Cats have walked with humanity while never surrendering their wildness. They remind us that domestication is not always conquest. Sometimes it is a quiet partnership, formed by tolerance and mutual advantage. Cats are companions not because we made them so, but because they chose to stay near us. Their evolution and domestication tell the story of an animal that remained true to itself, even as it became part of our lives. And when a cat gazes at you with unblinking eyes, calm yet watchful, it is a reminder that you are looking into a lineage that has survived for millions of years. A lineage that accepted your company on its own terms and continues to walk its own path beside yours.